Hello and many thanks for joining us on Nationwide on the NTA. I am Ifoma Ojinta. President of Germany, Frank-Walter Steinmeier, is in Nigeria on a 3-day official visit. He has been meeting with President Bola Tinubu to underline the strength of Nigeria-Germany relations and mark Germany's appreciation to Nigeria and an evidence of a willingness to work together as strategic partners.
Give you assurances that our business doors are open and our reforms are working. We plan to strengthen the relationship and build partnership that is fulfilling and rewarding to the two countries.
We're happy that Nigeria is Germany's second largest trading partner in sub-Saharan Africa, but there's great potential, even greater potential. There's greater opportunities, and we want to tap into this potential in the coming years.
Bring you more details of these engagements as soon as it is ready. And now to legislative matters. The House of Representatives is urging security agencies and commercial banks to join forces and track down those behind the notorious robbery act known as One Chance taxi operations in Abuja. This resolution of the House followed a motion of urgent public importance on the growing menace of illegal taxi services, which has become a major concern for residents and visitors alike in the nation's capital. Lawmakers also advocate resuscitation of the Abuja urban mass transit services to provide reliable and efficient transportation system for FCT residents.
Such abound, including that of our children, relatives, staff, secretaries, and if nothing urgent is done to curb these activities of One Chance in FCT Abuja, FCT may not be safe for every one of us to stay.
In other resolutions, the House frowned at the influx of contraband goods across the nation's borders despite multiple customs checkpoints.
That is jointly with the Committee on Defense to investigate the operations and activities of the Nigerian Customs Service across Nigerian borders, with a specific focus on smuggling activities, and report back to the House within 6 weeks.
National Assembly correspondent Mitari Ikwen reports that a bill seeking the establishment of more specialist eye care centers in the country passed second reading at Wednesday's plenary. Meanwhile, the Senate has clarified that subnationals are not mandated under the 1999 Constitution as amended and the Electricity Act 2023 to regulate and enforce compliance to the use of standard electrical equipment in their jurisdiction, as the Nigerian Electricity Management Services Agency, NEMSA, has the sole responsibility nationwide to ensure unification in regulation and enforcement of technical standards in the country. Chairman, Senate Committee on Power, Eyinaya Baribe, at the 4th edition of Stakeholders Roundtable in Abuja, decries increase in the use of substandard electrical equipment, which is also responsible for frequent grid collapses, and says the mandate to regulate and enforce compliance is not decentralized. Senator Baribe tasked NEMSA to step up campaign against use of substandard electrical equipment, which has become a major challenge in the electricity industry in the country.
Make it far more explicit that just like the NEC, that for question of safety, Nigeria must have one standard.
The support of the legislature and judiciary remains indispensable. Through your legislative oversight, policy guidance, and judicial interpretation, we are empowered to uphold the highest standards of safety and technical integrity in the electricity sector.
Joshua Ojito reports that the fourth edition of the Stakeholders Roundtable is to optimize executive, legislative and judicial roles on NEMSA's mandate of enforcement of technical standards and regulations in the Nigeria electricity supply industry. And the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission (NEC) says any request for upward review of electricity tariff must be backed by quality of supply to customers. This is coming as a utility company in Abia State approached the commission requesting for upward review of tariff for electricity customers in Aba from January 2025. At the public hearing in Abuja on the request for tariff increase, the Aba Power submits that its request is hinged on inflation, cost of gas, among other factors, to enable it to recover cost of production and invest on infrastructure for improved service delivery. Representatives of electricity consumers in Aba say any increase in tariff at the moment will impact negatively on the cost of doing business in the commercial nerve center of the Southeast. The regulator assures all parties that it will study all submissions before taking its decision on whether or not to approve the tariff increase.
When your customers are happy, they will be willing to pay more to you so that you can also improve on your operational performance. I think that aspect you really need to look at it critically. The other thing that will be part of your review of your application has to do with the power purchase agreement between you and your sister company.
Nigeria has reaffirmed its leadership in the global energy sector with the appointment of Adeyemi Bello, Nigeria's governor for OPEC and chairman OPEC Board of Governors for 2025. His appointment was confirmed at the 189th meeting of the OPEC conference. The appointment highlights Nigeria's influence within the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, OPEC, and underscores the nation's commitment to shaping global energy policies. Minister of State for Petroleum Resources, Oil, Senator Henikin Lukbobiri, has consequently described Adeyemi Bello's elevation as a testament to the country's active contributions to the global oil industry. The minister also expressed profound gratitude to Ambassador Gabriel Aduda, the outgoing Nigerian OPEC governor, for his exemplary service. In the same vein, OPEC has appointed Adib Al-Amar, governor of Saudi Arabia, for OPEC as the alternate chairman of the Board of Governors for 2025. Nigerian youths have been urged to unite against corruption by exposing tendencies that go against accountability and right values. Stakeholders at a one-day anti-corruption and cybercrime summit in Katsina tasked the young minds on a self-driven decision approach against corruption. Correspondent Awal Haliru reports.
A recognition that corruption affects every facet of life but bites harder against the prospects of the youth, the Katsina State Public Complaints and Anti-Corruption Commission, in collaboration with key players, organized a summit of stock-taking looking at youth vulnerability to fraudulent practices and the widespread impacts of internet fraud, while analyzing the theme for the 2024 International Anti-Corruption Day. The role of youth and women in achieving a corrupt and cybercrime-free Katsina State resonates deeply for the compelling need for young people to close ranks and fight corruption.
This occasion has shown our collective effort to combat corruption and cybercrime in Katsina State. As part of our focus, in order to take proactive measures, we need to educate our youth and tell them the danger of such kind of act.
The youths are in agreement that the easy money syndrome is drawing young people into criminality.
It's a great offense to engage in a cybercrime activity.
By coming to this summit, I have already understood that doing those kind of cybercrime stuff are illegal.
The summit featured paper presentations on the Islamic perspective of the consequences of indulging in corruption. In Katsina, Awal Haliru, NTA News.
Coming from the lessons learned from implementation of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015, legal experts saddled with developing appropriate frameworks for an efficient judicial process want a fixed tenure for heads of courts to ensure accountability. This was at a review meeting in Abuja on the national minimum standards for effective justice delivery.
The chorusing of the national anthem by this group of stakeholders in law enforcement signifies their desire for a nation where no man is oppressed and truth is upheld at all times. Thus, the meeting in the nation's capital is reviewing progress made by the 36 states and the FCT in the implementation of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act using national minimum standards.
The reason we have that act, the reason we have adopted to of ourselves these minimum standards is so that we can have a system that works efficiently, that treats people with humaneness.
We urge the anti-graft agencies to focus more on prevention of corruption and economic crimes.
It's supposed to be a correctional center now, based on our new act, not a prison. It's to help people rehabilitate them back into the society after they've served their terms.
The forum also observed the positive effects that the AJA has had on justice delivery, how it has hastened the conviction of persons alleged of criminal conduct and the forfeiture of illicit assets to government coffers. In Abuja, Olabode, NTA News.
Human Rights Commission Plateau State is working towards ensuring that violations in human rights issues are speedily tackled to reduce its negative impact on the society. A roadwalk in Jos to mark 16 days activism is one of the steps as reported by Ndeyang and Diabangyang.
This roadwalk, marking the end of 16 days of activism, coincided with the International Human Rights Day. The walk attracted stakeholders from the various sectors with the theme, Our Rights, Our Future, Right Now.
Human rights protection is a continuous process and not an event. Therefore, we remain committed, going the extra mile to ensure that our dear country becomes a model and bastion of human rights protection worthy of attention of other African nations and beyond.
The theme focuses on ways of addressing human rights abuses.
I need to call on our people that indeed, if we are ready to have a future in our state and in our country, we must take the rights of everyone very seriously.
As we move around today campaigning that people who don't know these rights should come to terms with this.
Let us be our brother's keeper. If you see something that isn't right, or you sense or you just feel that something isn't correct, say something.
The event featured distribution of flyers on how to end human rights abuses, among others. In Jos, Nigerian and Abuja, NTA News.
And Ndeyang is joining us live now to speak more on efforts of the National Human Rights Commission to check these violations. You are on, Ndeyang.
Yes, Reformer, as part of activities to mark this year's 16 days of activism, various organizations embarked on awareness campaign with a call on stakeholders to take deliberate steps towards closing the gap in human rights protection. And the National Human Rights Commission, in collaboration with other gender-based organizations, advocating gender equality, policy and legislative reforms to prevent and respond to violence against women and girls. The Commission is also leveraging on the traditional and social media to amplify the messages. In view of this increased awareness, the Commission has received complaints affecting more than 1,000 persons. I tell you, out of this number, 886, representing 83% of the number, are gender-based violation. In spite of the insufficient and inadequate safe homes, inadequate professional care, funding, family courts, and access to medical care, among others, there are plans to provide more safe homes where survivors of gender-based violence can be housed to on-the-go trauma counseling, since investigations reveal that some of the violations are being perpetuated by family members and neighbors. Also, a monthly dashboard on human rights has been established to collate complaints of human rights violations in the state, and that is also going on across the country.
All right, Ndeyang, thank you very much. That will be all for now. Thank you for that update.
Thank you very much.
Let's now join Awal Yusuf Jibo in Lagos for the next set of stories on Nationwide.
The Lagos State government is maintaining its stance on zero tolerance against domestic violence in the metropolis. This was evident at an awareness campaign that brought together concerned agencies in collaboration with community leaders to sensitize the public more on the impact of domestic violence on victims, families, and the society at large. Diana Ajale reports.
I've been in Lagos in a busy land with marriage, quarreling, fight, no feeding, beating. There is a day nearly threw me from upstairs. At last, broke up with me.
A survivor of domestic violence, Ruth Bebiathe, narrating her ordeal. Nipping this ugly trend in the bud is what the Lagos State government is after. An awareness walk which began from the Oba Elegushi Palace, led by the Olowa of Ikate Kingdom, Chief Salisu Oluwadare, was used to ensure that residents and motorists are sensitized about the negative effects of domestic violence.
Because it's something that some people have it in their home, they could not speak out, and they don't know where to call. And now, I think there is a number now to call.
We need to build a new family. We need to stop early child marriage. It's very important because we have lots of mothers now, especially in rural areas, that they themselves are not matured enough.
The group of relevant agencies comprises Lagos State Domestic and Sexual Violence Agents, Anti-Corruption, and the Rule of Law, believe partnering with community leaders who are closer to their subjects will go a long way in tackling the menace of domestic violence in the various communities.
We thought it was best to deepen our partnership with the traditional rulers because they play a very critical role in preventing and responding to sexual and gender-based violence. So it's important for us to be proactive, engage community members on these issues.
Why concerted efforts are being put in place towards ensuring a safer society for all. Concerned persons, however, encourage victims to always speak out and feel free to seek help from appropriate authorities at all times. In Lagos, Diana Ajale, NTA News.
And away from domestic violence, Nigeria Correctional Service has over the years witnessed a paradigm shift, not just in the change of its name from the defunct prison service, but its reformation and empowerment of inmates with requisite skills to live an impactful life during and after their jail term has been a major thrust of its agenda. Joel Popola in this report examines the mileage of this initiative in producing truly reformed inmates.
At the mention of Nigeria Correctional Service, what comes to mind is confinement and incarceration of inmates. But the narrative is changing as correctional facilities is fast becoming a massive training center which has continued to produce graduates, courtesy of the partnership with the National Open University of Nigeria, with study and examination centers in Ikoyi Custodial Center, stakeholders say the infrastructure at the custodial center is helping academic and vocational training, and the impact has been unprecedented.
Institution-free tertiary education. So presently, we have almost like 4 inmates at their PhD levels now. So we're having more enrollment with inmates saying that there's possibility in attaining higher degree education.
Many inmates who never had any qualification prior to their sentencing are now living with degrees and other vocational skills, which have contributed in their early release through prerogative of mercy. Apart from this, there is also an inmate reward system which helps them earn an income while in custody.
Partner, some during exhibition, and when those things are made, a portion goes into for the service, a portion goes through for the inmate.
The educational pursuit of the inmate, and also in Lagos, is very, very commendable. And in terms of vocational training as well, I think we are making more progress.
Through follow-ups from Nigeria Correctional Service and NGOs, many inmates have been empowered with startup facilities, but the consensus is that an end to stigmatization will hasten their full reintegration into the society. In Lagos, Joel Bukbola, NTA News.
Those are the stories from Lagos nationwide.
Syria.
You're welcome back. Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria confirms that on December 11, 2024, at 10:05 a.m., an Allied air cargo aircraft with registration number FNJRT skidded off runway 22 at Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja, with 5 souls on board, but there is no reported injury. A statement by the Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection, FAN, Obiageli Ora, notes that all occupants were safely evacuated and taken to the FAN clinic for further check. The airport emergency response team and accident investigators are on the scene. The runway is being cleared and is expected to reopen for operations as soon as possible. The public is advised to look forward to the preliminary report by the Nigeria Safety Investigation Bureau. Efforts are on to break barriers hindering girl-child education through effective strategies to increase their enrollment, retention, and completion rates. This is at a one-day conference of traditional and religious leaders across the north-central zone of the country, with prominent traditional rulers, including the Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar, in attendance. Hussein Musa reports that the initiative is at the instance of the Federal Ministry of Education under the Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment.
School participation has remained a challenge in Nigeria, with the menace majorly affecting the northern part of the country, as affirmed by the 2023 statistics of UNICEF, indicating that 15.3 million children were out of school, with about 70% of this number being females. The need to address this challenge informed the federal government World Bank-assisted initiative, the Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment Agile project, with various components seeking to create safe and accessible learning spaces to foster an enabling environment for girls to thrive.
The good thing is that we are all very happy to take part in this. That's very good.
It is through education that we break down barriers, challenge stereotypes.
There is opportunity for a girl child to be very, very useful to herself and to the society.
My late father, he was an educationist who believed strongly in the education of all his daughters, and his legacy inspires my commitment to this cause.
The conference featured presentations by students, including those living with disability, and the recognition of the wife of the Niger State Governor, Fatima Umaru as the ambassador of Agile Project in the state. Emina Hussein Musa, NTA News.
2 months after Oko communities in Delta State were completely submerged by flood, which led to the destruction of property and farm produce, Becky Greatman Chukwuka is finding out how they are coping with the impacts.
As the flood has receded in the community, the daunting task of rebuilding begins. For the indigenes of Oko community, they are working tirelessly to salvage their belongings and get back on their feet. Even as some of the farmers have managed to go back to their farms, some of the indigenes are finding it difficult to get seedlings as the planting season has already begun. They say they need government's intervention.
We need help. We are planning where to farm another one, looking for stick of cassava, yam, and rice, which we used to lay the foundation again.
Others appreciate the stipend given to them by some government officials from their local government.
We still seek for more assistance. Now we have started planting for the new season. We need help.
So you need a helper for government because now water don't go down.
His Royal Majesty Dr. Eze Osita is appealing to government to bring a lasting solution to the perennial flooding.
And after the flood, we'll start managing ourselves. We are requesting that the construction of this our road to be permanent.
The people of Oko community are optimistic that in no distant time they will bounce back and continue with their normal lives. From Oko, Becky Greatman Chukwuka, NTA News.
I'll link it up now with Becky, who is standing by to give us the situation report. Tell us, Becky, what is the situation on ground and what's, more are the yearnings of the people?
Thank you very much, Ifoma. Oko community is actually made up of 6 villages and they are predominantly farmers. During the last flood, the 6 villages were completely submerged by the flood. All their farm produce were totally washed away. Schools were shut down. There was also no social life for them during that period. Now that the flood has receded, the people are picking up the pieces of their lives. It's like life is starting afresh again for them. All they need now is assistance from both the state government, federal government, and even good-spirited Nigerians to enable them stabilize. They also need agro seedlings as a new planting season has begun because, like I said earlier, they are predominantly farmers. In all, they are hopeful that the federal government will bring a lasting solution to the perennial flooding so they can start living without fear.
All right, Becky, tell us, what is the state government doing at the moment, to ensure that this does not really happen again in the interim? Okay, Becky, we want to know, what the state government is doing in the interim to ensure that this does not happen again. Okay, I'm afraid Becky can't hear me. Thank you very much. That'll be all for now. Now, local actions are being accelerated to put an end to gender-based violence amongst adolescents within the Federal Capital Territory. Elizabeth Omori reports on the intergenerational defense training sessions to bust out gender-based offenses as these adolescents grow to become adults.
Is gradually achieving its purpose with the inclusion of the boy child in the advocacy against gender-based violence. This time, the FCT is raising the awareness and the Nigerian Civil Defense Corps is providing the non-kinetic defense training. The 620 adolescents for the 3 days were exposed to technical knowledge on self-defense and discipline, leadership skills, trauma management, and other life-saving techniques when in danger.
We should speak out. When we see something, we should learn to say something.
I've learned a lot here, how to defend ourselves.
Facilitators of the session insist that the grooming of boys to understand the negative impact of gender-based violence on women and girls will help challenge unfriendly societal norms to build healthier homes.
for interventions and investment in this kind of collective action. It cannot happen for one gender. It must happen for the inclusive representation.
What we strongly believe and what we stand for is to ensure a world where we all have equity, where we have everyone understands their rights.
It will be, a precursor to our fight against gender-based violence.
The self-defense training is not meant for the boys or the girls to go outside and practice on anybody. No, it is whenever they are threatened.
They recommend proper home training and education for girl child. In Abuja, Elizabeth Omoru, NTA News.
Women across various royal clans in Nigeria have converged on Abuja for the inaugural session of the Association of Women Traditional Title Holders. It is to add their voices to calls to redefine values and preserve Nigeria's cultural heritage for peace and national integration. Abubakar Akwanga reports.
This gathering is a royal one, and the characters represent a destiny of the female gender in deepening cultural relations and building bridges for national cohesion. Now, to function in unity, the body of the Association of Women Traditional Title Holders is meeting for the first time to set priorities and embrace new approaches to their traditional roles.
These women who hold esteemed roles within their communities often bridge the gap between tradition and modernity.
We bring numbers of women, either 10, 20, and educate them, teach them, then from there they will not teach others.
The association says it will continue to collaborate with royal fathers across Nigeria to preserve the diverse, rich heritage and tradition of the Nigerian people and beyond.
Our first General Congress is not just a formality, but official flag of our collective mission, one rooted in the values of empowerment, unity and cultural preservation.
Paper presentation on women and the girl's child featured prominently during the session, with a renewed drive to achieving positive breakthroughs. In Abuja, Abubakar Akwanga, NTA News.
And our Kaduna Network Center is our next stop on Nationwide, and Salamatu is our guide. Hello, Salamatu.
Informal, good evening and a warm welcome. The Kaduna State government is strengthening its collaboration with the World Bank to transform the livestock sector, which holds immense potentials to promote economic growth across the livestock value chain. Muhammad Umar Ajingi reports that the World Bank Livestock Operations Manager visited the Deputy Governor of the state to discuss strategies of driving the growth of the sector.
The livestock sector in Kaduna State holds immense potential to transform the state's economy. This strategic meeting between the operations manager of the World Bank's Livestock Productivity and Resilience Support Project and the Deputy Governor of Kaduna State is to enhance productivity in the livestock value chain.
For the World Bank, the agriculture and, of course, animal husbandry subsector of agriculture are critical sectors, economic sectors, where we believe there is an opportunity for Nigeria to increase its productivity and to provide gainful employment to Nigerians.
We believe that with this intervention and with other interventions in agriculture, that we will do a lot in improving livelihoods, in growing our economies, and in creating wealth amongst our people. One of the programs that we have here in Kaduna is to make sure that we grow our rural infrastructure, and by so doing, growing the rural economy, because we realize that we have left it behind for a very long time. And I think that this is one way, for us to grow it.
Both parties identified actionable strategies to boost productivity, improve livestock practices, and harness the sector's capacity for economic growth and sustainability. In Kaduna, I am Muhammad Umar Ajingi, NTA News.
Moving away from livestock sector, the Nigerian Defense Academy will leverage on the energy shortfall as experts urged government to embrace alternative solutions by investing more in solar energy, a transformative potential towards addressing the country's deficit in power. Correspondent Haruna Muhammad reports that this is the resolve of experts at the 41st Solar Energy Conference held at the Nigerian Defense Academy, Afaka, in Kaduna.
Nigeria remains a grip of energy insufficiency, with electricity generation averaging 4,000 to 5,000 megawatts, for short of the national demand. At the 41st Solar Energy Conference, experts spotlight solar power as more than an alternative, a transformative solution with the potential to redefine Nigeria's energy future, with the Nigerian Defense Academy tapping from it. With the team empowering communities through solar energy innovations for energy transition, discussions underscore solar energy role in not just powering homes and businesses, but also in combating climate change and enhancing lives across the country. The Commandant Nigerian Defense Academy, Major General John Ocha, and other delegates emphasized on the vast opportunities in renewable energy, expressing confidence that solar innovation could drive a sustainable and brighter future for Nigeria.
The ministry is trying its best. It's trying to make sure that at least every household has a solar power system that can generate electricity for the day-to-day life.
In a few days, the Nigerian Defense Academy will be commissioning a 2.5 million megawatts solar farm. That will go a long way in our path towards becoming energy independent. When it is fully operational, the Nigerian Defense Academy will be off the grid. It will help in decarbonizing the environment as well as saving costs.
With the renewable energy conversation gaining traction, decisions from this conference are expected to shape policies that could revolutionize Nigeria's energy landscape. Haruna Mohammed, NTA News.
And that report completes our package from here. You're still watching Nationwide. News will continue shortly after this timeout. Please stay tuned.
Brought to you by SportyBet. Play with champions.
In a heartwarming initiative to uplift the families of police personnel, wife of the Inspector General of Police, Elizabeth Egbetokun, has extended her support to 150 women. It is part of efforts to provide empowerment and improve the welfare of widows and wives of serving personnel. Francis Form reports.
These are children of police officers and men from different barracks in the FCT by wife of the Inspector General of Police, Elizabeth Egbetokun, to have fun. Not just having fun, but 150 widows and spouses of serving police personnel also given startups.
Today, God make it to come true. I'm so much happy, and I say may God bless our mommy Elizabeth. At least with this, I will add to what I'm doing. I will be able to empower others too.
Immediately I just saw these items. I say, God, I need sewing machine. I just pick it. I see it's sewing machine. I tell God, say thank you.
I'm very grateful to mommy for doing this for us out of love. The Lord of the widows will continue to bless her.
So this one, we are giving them tools so that they can use it and make money for themselves. We are not giving them fish. We are teaching them how to fish. That's what we are doing. And we've been doing that for a long time.
Our wives are special human beings. Our advice to them is to continue to do what they are doing for us. Our jobs are difficult. They should make the home a welcoming place for us. And most especially, we want to thank them for taking care of our children.
Francis from NTA News.
And now it's time to get to our Ibadan Network Center for more stories from that axis with Kemi as our guide. Good to see you, Kemi.
Ifoma, and welcome to Ibadan.
Muslim faithful have been urged to assist the less privileged and sponsor female Muslim students to reach the peak of their education. The Sultan of Sokoto, Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar III, stated this at the 9th General Assembly of Muslim Ummah of Southwest Nigeria, held in Ibadan, the state capital. Rafia Animashan Badmos has the details.
This economic problem does not lie on importation of food items, but adopting the spirit of zakat, sharing among the less privileged.
Southwest Muslim community, typified by Muslim, has a lot to do in terms of fostering unity.
We, however, urged government to utilize the gains made from subsidy removal on improving security, infrastructure development, provision of electricity, massive food production, and employment generating projects.
Government should show all relevant things and put measures in place for mitigate the general.
They are doing a fantastic job to bring all the Muslim allies in the country, particularly from this southern part of Nigeria. I appreciate it.
In Islam, that you should not be thinking of a mundane activities alone. You must be spiritual. He has emphasized on several areas of getting money, and if you get the money, how to utilize the money for eradicating poverty among the vulnerable.
The event featured presentation of Sultan Scholarship Award to 12 female medical students in the Southwest in Ibadan. Rafia and Mashan Badmos, NTA News.
Multi-billion naira worth of substandard falsified medicinal and other unwholesome products have been destroyed by the National Agency for Food and Drug Administration and Control, NAFDAC, in Ibadan, your state capital. Rafia Animashan Badmos again reports that the exercise was witnessed by representatives of other sister agencies in the state.
The items for destruction were collected from 5 states across the Southwest. These items include expired products that were voluntarily forfeited by those in the drug distribution channel, unregistered and unwholesome products that were raided from different outlets, among others.
The worth of what has been brought up together, including what Nigerian Customs Services gave to us, is about 11 billion naira. We are in close partnership with many of the sister agencies, especially Nigerian Customs Service, but the police is also there to partner with us.
By and large, you realize that a lot of these counterfeit products, if not destroyed, can get back into the society. And NAFDAC has a mandate to ensure that the health of the people are safeguarded.
The Southwest Director solicited for support and continued partnership from Nigerians to keep Nigeria safe and free from unwholesome, substandard, fake and counterfeit medicinal and other regulated products. The destruction exercise was witnessed by officials from the Nigerian Customs Service, the Nigerian Police, and the Department of State Service. Others are the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps, the Nigerian Drug Law Enforcement Agency, as well as other stakeholders. In Ibadan, Rafia Animashan Badmos, NTA News.
That does it from Ibadan. Ifama, it's back to you.
Many thanks, Kemi. Now, the Nigerian Supreme Council for Islamic Affairs has appointed and unveiled 5 new imams for the National Mosque. Professor Ishaq Oloyede, who briefed the media after the council meeting, says 2 of the volunteer imams are residents in Abuja, while the other 3 are visiting imams, approved to harness and strengthen worship, training, learning, and scholarship. They are Professor Ilyasu Usman from Enugu State, Professor Lukman Zakaria from Osun State, Sheikh Abdul Qadri Salman, Kwara State, Barrister Harun Mohammad Eze, also from Enugu State, and Professor Khalid Aliyu Abubakar from Plateau State.
is who are worthy in character and scholarship to oversee the spiritual activities of the faithful. Today's press conference, therefore, is a further fulfillment of that promise.
So Oloyede said more imams are being considered for appointments. The National Sports Commission engages sports federations on business-driven sports as NFF Secretary General backs another 3-year tenure. Details of these and more with Austin Edemodu.
The National Sports Commission has announced the introduction of chief operating officers for national sports federations for revenue generation in line with their mandate of creating a robust sports economy for the country. At a meeting in Abuja, the National Sports Commission leadership and presidents of federations, chairman of the National Sports Commission, Shehu Diko, and Director General Bukola Lokpade were unanimous that sports in the country will now be business-driven as obtained in other climes.
Anywhere they are talking about the economy of the country, creating jobs, youth investing, or whatever it is, sports should have a seat on that table if you are doing the right thing, which is basically what we have to do.
And this commission, under the leadership of Shehu Diko, is determined to deliver results upon results using very cutting-edge innovation and strategic approach.
In the meantime, the General Secretary of the Nigerian Football Federation, Mohammed Sanusi, has described his reappointment as a call for more work towards the development of football.
And as is on Nationwide today, we thank you for watching. I am Ifoma Ojinta. Bye for now.